there, thank you for joining and welcome to Yin Yoga. Today we are doing a pyramid of Yin stretches, and each time we go into a new posture we stay for longer. So it's about developing patience and maybe learning to breathe through sensations and trying to stay still and focused, stay aware of our breath, stay aware of our bodies. So we're going to start with 1 minute. Just going to start in child pose. So going to take the knees slightly apart with our bottom resting on our heels and coming forward, either resting your head in your hands or stretching your fingertips forward, resting the head on the floor. So it's up to you if you want to feel more like grounded, like you want to just go quiet and go within, you would rest your head on your hands. If you want to feel more of a stretch in your chest and your armpits, want to be a bit more yang, you would stretch the fingertips as far forward as you can. You then feel the opening in the chest and the armpits and the shoulders. So I'll start my timer just for 1 minute. Lifting up slowly, pressing into the hands, and from here maybe doing some cats and cows to awaken the spine and articulate the spine. So pressing the hands into the floor, we're breathing in as we lift the chest forward, lift the sit bones up, and breathing out, pushing the mat away with our hands, drawing the tummy in, arching the spine up towards the ceiling. A few more of those. Might feel nice to undo the kinks in the back. If you've been sat at a desk or driving along today, okay, so next we're going to do 2 minutes on each side in Bananasana. So making a banana shape with our bodies. So here we're stretching the outside of the hip and mainly the lower back. We want to try and just lie with the body in a straight line first of all. Going to move our feet over to the right hand side and then shuffle our shoulders over to the right hand side as well. Trying to keep your left hip down, stretching the arms above the head. So we're taking hold of our right wrist with our left hand, and we can left ankle over the right or right ankle over the left. It's up to you. Just notice which feels good, and then we're holding for 2 minutes. So we can now become aware of our breath. See if we can make our breath a little bit deeper, and instead of just into our chest, into our side ribs and into the abdomen as well. So full diaphragmatic breath. So try to stay focused on the breath in and out through the nose. On the inhale, you might feel the body gently expand. On the exhale, the body releases. I like to think of the breath as like a wave coming in and then a wave going back out. Helps to relax, be a little bit more focus on a deeper breath. So another 3 breaths. We've done crossing the ankles, moving the feet to the centre, letting go of the wrists, arms and shoulders to the centre. And for our counter pose, going to work a little bit on the core. So if we bring the knees into the chest, just hugging the knees in, drawing the tummy in, and extending the right leg, either resting on the floor or lifted off the floor. So just drawing the tummy in as you breathe in and out, about 3 breaths. And slowly change sides, so left knee towards the chest, right leg either off the floor or on the floor. We're pushing our heel away and toes towards the face on both legs, and 3 breaths. We draw the knees into the chest again, knees side to side. And then to articulate the spine a little bit more, we can bring the forehead up to the knees, feel the stretch across the shoulder blades before we return to the left side of Bananarasana. So now we're shuffling our shoulders over to the left and our head over to the left, stretching the arms above the head, this time holding onto the left wrist with the right hand, and shuffling our feet to the left. And then experiment to see where you get maybe a deeper stretch. We want to keep the right hip down. And again, 2 minutes. Focusing on deep diaphragmatic breath. So full expansion, full lung capacity. If you're not feeling it, maybe much of a stretch, you can take the feet over a little bit more to the left. Shuffling the shoulders a little bit over to the left. and slowly come out of Bananasana to the left, shuffling the head and the shoulders back to the middle and crossing the ankles. Slowly bring the arms down, bring the knees into the chest, just hooking the knees in, and then this time the extension with the right leg out, stretched along the floor or lifted off the floor, both heels away, toes towards the face as we hug the left knee in towards the chest, 3 breaths. Bring the right knee in, hug that in as we extend the left leg out, both heels away, toes towards the face, 3 breaths. This side. And left knee back into the chest. If you like, you can bring the forehead up to the knees, curl up like a small ball. And either taking your knees down to the right hand side or drawing the tummy in as we lift up slowly. Okay, so from here we're going to do next progression for the pyramid is 3 minutes, so we're going to do the easy pose. So for some of you it might not be so easy, so we could roll up a mat or sit on a cushion. We're basically crossing the legs but not crossing the ankles. We're seeing if we can cross the shins. We want to sit up as tall as possible and bring the flesh from underneath the buttocks so we can feel the sit bones pressing into the floor. So first of all, I'm going to just do some kind of twists as well, and side stretches for the side of the body. So if you press your right hand into the mat and stretch the left fingertips over to the left. It's just going to hold for about 3 breaths. And then left hand comes down, and then a gentle twist, so left hand outside the right thigh, just gently bringing the right hand behind, close to the lower back, and gently turning the chest towards the right, 3 breaths. And slowly back to the centre, and over to the left. So left hand side, fingertips stretch over to the left, 3 breaths. And lifting up again, and a gentle twist. So right hand outside the left knee, left hand behind, gently drawing the chest to the left. Also make a note, I meant to say, of which of your shins is in front in this easy pose. And slowly coming forward, then we go into the forward fold. So we're stretching our hands forward, can rest our elbows down on the floor or on the, can rest your elbows on your knees, can rest your elbows in front on a block or a cushion. We can bring the chin towards the chest and we can feel that stretch off the back of the neck, which is quite nice. Or we can keep looking forward. It's up to you. The target area here is your outside hips, your outer hips, your abductors. lifting up slowly, so press into the hands, lifting up and stretching out both legs. Just pushing the heels away, toes towards the face, maybe shaking out the legs. Then we first of all doing the counter pose, so windshield wipers, feet apart, knees apart, hands resting at the side, knees down to one side, knees to the other. And notice where you might feel sensations or tightness or pulling. Here working on internal and external rotation of the hips. And we'll change sides. So remembering which shin was in front, so opposite side, which will probably feel unnatural, feels a bit weird. So you sit like that again. We're trying to push our heels away, so we're crossing the shins. We're bringing the flesh from underneath the buttocks, so we can feel our sit bones pressing into the mat. So we'll do our side stretches first and twists. So left hand to the side, right fingertips stretching over to the left, 3 breaths. Back up, and then the twist to the left, so right hand outside the left knee, left hand behind the lower back, gently drawing the chest to the left, 3 breaths. Slowly returning, and then changing sides, so right hand at the side, lifting up the left fingertips to stretch them as far as you can to the right. And lifting back up, and then into that twist, so left hand outside the right thigh, right hand on the floor behind the lower back, gently drawing the chest to the right. And back to the centre, and coming into the forward fold. About another 6 breaths, just resting the elbows or hands where they feel okay. And bring the chin towards the chest and feel that nice stretch up the back of the neck. And lifting back up slowly, stretching out the legs. Feel how good it feels to stretch out the legs. And coming into the windshield wipers if that feels good. So feet apart, knees apart, slowly rotating. Back to the centre. So the next one we're doing is 4 minutes. So there's a couple of options. We can do half shoelace for a stretch for the hamstrings, or we can do half saddle, which is more of a stretch for the quads. So I'll show you half shoelace first. So half shoelace, a couple of options. Again, we might want to sit on a block to help lift ourselves up a bit. So the first variation of shoelace is just hugging the right knee in towards the left shoulder and sitting up tall. If that's probably maybe the safest if you have any knee issues. Or you can bring the right ankle so it's by the left hip. Again, sit up tall first of all. You're making the shoelace shape with both knees, and then we're coming forward over the left leg. And here you should feel the stretch on the hamstring. Just come forward slowly, don't go too deep because it might be too much for the knees. So that's your half shoelace. And then half saddle is the one where we take that right foot by the right hip and the right leg is bent, so we can stay there, or we can go back onto the elbows. If you like, you can rest on a cushion, you can rest your head against the wall. If you're really flexible in the quads, you can rest the head and the back on the floor. So this is the one sometimes where we might need a forklift truck to get us out. So 4 minutes in your chosen one. You could try both the half shoelace, you could try both versions of those, and then maybe about half time, I'll tell you when half time is, you could go into your half saddle. See how they feel. Then we'll come back to working on our breath again. So those full diaphragmatic breaths. So that's about halfway. So you can move position, or you can see if you can go a bit deeper in the stretch you're already in. So I'll try to see if I can lower down. Doesn't matter if that knee lifts like mine is, as long as you're not feeling any pain in the knee or back. So about another 6 breaths. Try to really focus on drawing out your exhale each time.
Okay, so if you're in half saddle, lifting out, I like to press the elbows in, lift up, bit of a groan, and stretch out the right leg. And then just lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, squeeze up and lower down. Okay, and then onto the other side. So half shoelace, either hugging the knee in towards the left knee towards the right shoulder, or bringing that left foot by the side of the right hip and coming forward. Feeling the stretch up the right hamstring, the back of the right leg, or half saddle. So this time bending up the left knee and left foot heel comes by the left hip. See how that feels to go back onto the elbows or stay up like this for a bit. So 4 minutes in half shoelace or half saddle. Finding out what works for you. Finding out if one side is maybe not so tense as the other. Focusing on the lovely, deep, smooth breath. So coming up to about halfway in, so either changing the stretch or going a bit deeper, see how it feels. Just a couple of deep breaths. And bring ourselves out slowly, so stretching out the left leg, pressing into the elbows, or if you want to here, we need to go slowly. We've been extending the back, just bring the knees into the chest, roll the knees side to side, and bring the forehead up to the knees. So we've worked on stretching out the front of the body there and the hamstrings. So here, stretching the back of the body and the adductors in our butterfly for 5 minutes. So I'm going to roll up the mat a little bit. To help me fold forward a bit more and hopefully access a deeper stretch in my adductors, the inner thigh. So soles of the feet are together. Depending on how intense you want this stretch, you would bring your feet close in and bring the chest forward. Maybe yangish for half the time, or you can take the feet forward and allow the back to round, chin towards the chest. So 5 minutes, and here it's really nice to focus as much as possible on the body moving on the inhale and exhale. When this is about halfway, you can readjust, bring the feet closer in for more intense, you can come forward a bit more. for 6 breaths here. And lifting out, nice and slowly, stretching out both legs. Then taking the hands behind and lifting the hips up with straight legs or with the feet flat on the floor. Lift the hips up, extending the hips up, looking up towards the ceiling. Another 2 or 3 of those. Okay, now taking the feet apart, knees apart, down to one side, other. Now coming into Sphinx for our 6 minutes. So we've got variations in Sphinx. So if it gets too much for the back, as always, we can basically rest our head in our hands or rest the cheek on the hands. We can bring our big toes together and let the heels come out to the side. We can take our hips side to side, which is nice for the lower back and the hips. If Sphinx feels okay, have our elbows into the floor. And the legs can be straight out, the legs can be together or slightly apart. We can have our elbows right underneath the shoulders or elbows further away. We can have the hands pressing into the floor, the arms straight, quite intense for the lower back. Here focusing on breathing into the lower back, feel that breath, bring circulation, oxygen into the lower back, breathing in and out through the nose. So here in Sphinx we can close our eyes, we can just notice what's arising, if there's thoughts arising or quite focused on the awareness of your breath or sensations arising in the body. still with the eyes closed, gently and slowly draw your right knee up towards your right elbow. And notice there might be that sensation in the right glute. And try and breathe into the sensation if it's there. So this is half frog. You can change position of the foot. Foot can be close into the body or out at the side. Before we draw the right knee back down, notice if the sensation has moved, if the stretch or tension has moved. And we're drawing our right knee down, keeping the eyes closed, just moving slowly. And changing to drawing the left knee up towards the left elbow. Again, we can just place the foot wherever it feels good. And we're just noticing the sensation in your left hip, or your left glute, your left lower back, and breathing into it. Bringing the left leg down, and bringing ourselves out of Sphinx really, really slowly. So walking the elbows in, pressing into the elbows, we're lifting up. And arching the spine up. Some cats and cows, nice and slow. And so from here are 7 minutes. I'll give you a couple of options. So we can do child pose, like we did, the same as at the start of the class, this time noticing how it feels, how different we feel in the mind and the body. Or we can do legs up the wall. So it's up to you. If your back feels a little bit tender after the saddle and the long held Sphinx, child pose might be nice. And legs up the wall, it will be more intense for the back. So if you're doing your legs up the wall, I'll give you a quick demo. So the hips are as close as the wall as you can get them, and then you kind of lie down and stretch the legs up the wall. So you want to make sure, if your hamstrings are quite tight, your bottom will be lifting off the floor. So you want to make sure that the bottom is resting on the floor. If your bottom's lifting off, it's too much of a curve for the back. So notice how that feels. You might need like to roll up a blanket or a cushion to rest your bottom up. So you're bringing the floor up to your bottom, and there's not any of a curve in the back. So we're holding in your child pose or legs up the wall, feet up the wall for 7 minutes. So the last pose for the evening. So now we're going to try the coherent breathing, which is even breath, really slowing the breathing down. So it's breathing in for a count of 6, breathing out for a count of 6. Try not to rush your counting. Try to keep the counting just nice and steady. Staying focused on your coherent breathing. I'll guide you through a couple of minutes. So it's inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. And carry on at that pace, slowing the breathing down, coherent breathing. coming out of whichever pose you chose. So if you chose your legs up the wall, you want to bring the knees into the chest, take the knees side to side, bringing the head up to the knees. Finishing in either constructive rest with the knees together and the feet apart, or in final relaxation with the legs out, feet apart, the small toes falling down towards the floor. Letting everything relax, letting the breathing go, letting the tension release, noticing the body releasing. Just breathing softly, aware, relaxed, for about a minute or so. You can stay in your final relaxation if you feel super comfy and relaxed, or you can move on with your day or evening. So if you want to move on, we'll stretch the arms above the head, taking a nice deep breath in. Bring the arms down slowly, hug the knees into the chest. And rolling up to seated when you're ready. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the stretches. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.